This is the all-new and improved Yappify-AI. Hello everyone, my name is TM Shaz and I'm very excited to share with you the all-new revamped version of the first app I ever built, Yappify-AI. It's a speech-to-text app that I built that started off with a genuine problem when working with AI models in the very beginning. Today, it's an app that I still use in all my working sessions, and since this revamp, I have not put a single dollar into this app. So today, I'm going to take you through what's new, show you all the bells and whistles, and get you started on using Yappify-AI on any device. Alright, I want to bring up why I built Yappify-AI in the first place. So in the very beginning when I was using these AI tools, not all these AI providers had this speech-to-text functionality into their app. So in the beginning, I was heavily dependent on ChatGPT's phone app to use speech-to-text to voice prompt, and then I would move back to my computer. And this was even before a desktop app was even made. So I would find myself constantly talking on the phone and then refreshing the page on my computer. Yappify-AI was built so that I could continue my productivity on my laptop while having speech-to-text on the side. As the months went by, I noticed a few more problems. The first was that raw speech-to-text output usually consisted of a lot of unnecessary large text content that was filled with a lot of noise. Second was that when I wanted to create prompts, I always had to open a new conversation thread with Claude or ChatGPT to create those prompts. And last was that all these other apps that were being launched always requested that you sign up and get locked into a subscription just to use those services. So I wanted to change that. I worked towards creating this feature called Promptify that takes your raw speech output and transforms it into a more concise and structured output that's more token efficient while maximizing context. I also made sure that I can have an app where I don't need to open up a new conversation thread every time when I want to start prompting. And last was that I worked hard to make sure that this app could be free for everyone to use without any signups and without getting locked into another subscription plan. Alright, so let's take a look at what Yappify looks like today. So the core idea is still the same. You talk naturally just the same way you would be explaining something to your friend, and then Yappify takes that speech and turns it into something useful. The difference now is that the experience has been completely expanded and rebuilt. Yappify is now available as a web application that works across desktop and mobile devices, and it can also be installed as a progressive web app for quick access whenever you need it. At its core, the workflow is very simple. You press record, talk through your ideas, stop when you're finished, and generate a transcription. From there, you can either keep the raw transcript or use Promptify to transform it into a structured output that's ready for AI models, notes, documentation, content creation, or whatever workflow you're working on. The goal was never to create another complicated AI tool. The goal was to create something that removes friction between thinking and doing. Now let's take a look at the different ways you can use the Yappify-AI in your daily workflows. Alright, so I'm going to show you the different features of Yappify-AI. The first and most important feature is the speech-to-text mode, and this is the one that I personally use every single day. The workflow is super straightforward. You hit record, start talking, stop whenever you're done, and then generate a transcript. Once the transcription is generated, you have a few different ways you can use it. The first is Prompt Enhancer, which is really the feature that sits at the heart of Yappify. Prompt Enhancer takes a raw transcription and restructures it into a clean, organized prompt that's ready to be pasted in ChatGPT, Claude, Cursor, or any other AI tool that you're working with. There's also Quick Notes, which is designed for situations where you don't necessarily need a prompt. Maybe you're brainstorming ideas, documenting a meeting, planning a project, or just trying to get your thoughts out of your head. Quick Notes will take your speech and turn it into a more organized note format that's easier to reference later. I've also added custom modes, which allows users to create their own Promptify instructions. Instead of being locked in the way I work, you can create your own transformations and save them directly inside the app. This makes Yappify much more flexible depending on your personal workflow. The second major mode is Translate mode. I originally built this because I wanted a translation tool that fits naturally into the way I already communicate. Instead of typing everything into a translator, you can simply speak naturally and get both transcription and a translation at the same time. You just select your source language and your target language, and there's also an optional transliteration feature. This is super helpful if you want help pronouncing translated text into your own language's writing style. There's also a swap button that instantly reverses the translation direction, making it easier to have conversations back and forth without constantly reconfiguring the settings. The third major mode is upload mode. Instead of recording audio live, upload mode allows you to upload existing audio files, process them through the same system. This is useful for things like meetings, interviews, lectures, or any audio content that you already have sitting on your device. Once uploaded, you have a few different output options available. You can generate a standard transcription, create speaker notes where the system identifies different people speaking, generate summaries of longer recordings, or extraction items and key takeaways automatically. On the right side of the application, there's also a history panel. Whenever you create a transcript, prompt, translation, summary, or any other output, you can save it and come back to it later. This makes it easy to build up a library of your work without having to constantly copy and paste everything into separate documents. And of course, if you want to quickly use any output elsewhere, you can copy it directly or export it as a text file. Finally, we have the settings section. This is where users can manage things like changing the AI model, changing the app theme, and checking on token usage. And this is also where you put in your API key, which we'll just get into. At the end of the day, all of these features are built around the same goal. I wanted a tool that helps me think out loud, capture those thoughts as quickly as possible, and transform them into something useful without having to jump between 5 different applications to get there. Alright, so now I want to talk about what actually powers Yappify-AI. So in the beginning, Yappify was powered by OpenAI's Whisper and GPT models through the API, and for this new revamped version, I decided to shift to Google's Gemini's models. So now the app runs on the API key as it did before, because it allows users to have full control over their API usage. There's 2 simple reasons why I decided to shift to Gemini. The first is that Google actually offers a free tier usage plan for all their developers and regular users, which means anyone can go log into their Google account and access their API key without uploading any of their billing information. So using this free tier usage, it actually makes the cost of using Yappify effectively completely free. The second reason is that it makes Yappify-AI a lot more token efficient. Because Promptify already takes your raw output and restructures it to minimize the text while maximizing context, you're now not even spending a single dollar in that initial process before sending out your prompts to other AI models. And the API key is saved directly onto the local browser by your choice. You have the option to input your key every time you want to use the app, or you can save it onto your browser for future use. And Yappify-AI does not store any API key onto any server, so there's no risk of having your API key stolen or leaked. And it's important to be transparent about this matter with you all, and which is why I decided to make Yappify-AI open sourced, so you can actually verify, but we'll get to that in a second. So I really try to make it a hard point that I didn't want any new users to sign up and get locked into another subscription plan just to use this tool. Getting the API key is super simple, and once you have it, you can run it on Yappify-AI and enjoy all the benefits of transcription for free. Alright, now that we've covered what Yappify-AI is and how it's powered, I want to talk about who it's actually for. And the short answer is that it's built for people who like to think out loud. So if you're someone who uses AI tools heavily, if you're building inside a Claude Code or a Cursor, or if you're constantly writing your own prompts, documenting ideas, planning projects, or just trying to get your thoughts out of your head faster, then this is the kind of tool that can fit naturally into your workflow. It's also useful for students, creators, developers, consultants, founders, or really anyone who has ideas but doesn't always want to sit there and type everything manually. For me, the biggest use case has been with coding sessions. When I'm working on an app, I don't always want to type out the perfect prompt from scratch, nor do I want to always open up a new conversation thread on ChatGPT. Sometimes I just want to explain the problem out loud, get the context, talk through what I'm trying to change, and then let Yappify structure that into something I can actually paste into Cursor or Claude Code. That is really the main value of the app. So going back to how Yappify is open source, I just want to reiterate again that yes, this app is completely free with limits, and it involves you using your own API key. Now there may be a lot of stigma behind this, but I carefully crafted the app in such a way where your private information is always stored locally on your own device. Your important information is never going to be sent to any servers, and open sourcing this means that you can always check the repository and verify if that's true or not. So you can check out the repository, which is also in the link down below. You can fork it and you can mess around with it, and if you have an even beefier computer, you can download the model directly into Yappify, so you can truly run Yappify locally. And yeah, so it's super safe and you can always verify. So it doesn't take that long to get started with using Yappify-AI. You can get up and running in a minute. You just have to go to yappify-ai.com, open up another tab, log into your Google account within Google AI Studio, and just click on create a new key. From there, you can paste that key directly into the settings tab. You can choose to save it locally or not, and you can begin talking, transcribing, and using Promptify. And yeah, so this is the new revamped open source version of Yappify-AI. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very proud of this project. It was the first app I ever created, and I do not have a computer science background. And it's still something I genuinely use every single day. I wanted the first app that I released publicly to be free, just for it to be my little gift to the world. So I'd love for you to check it out and tell me what you think. I'll leave a link to that down below as well. So that's about it. Once again, thank you very much for watching the video. I'll leave all the links down in the description, and I hope I can turn all your yapping into something meaningful. Thank you very much.